get to introduce a public servant of unimpeachable character, the great Angie Craig. So hello, Minnesota too. What a pleasure, what an honor to be with you guys. This is a little bit of a homecoming for me. My grandfather was a member of the Minnesota State Legislature, and I went to the state capitol today and I saw where he sat, took some pictures of it and everything. And so yeah, and I was just in beautiful Northfield, and now I'm here, and I don't need to tell you guys about the importance of this election. You guys obviously understand it. I want to salute you. I want to praise you for being a stalwart and a soldier for American democracy, because democracy is on the ballot, and we know that, and freedom is on the ballot, and justice is on the ballot, and progress is on the ballot, all of it. And we've been through some tough times together, but we're going to make it through, right? We're going to make it through. Angie Craig has been such an outstanding, amazing leader, not just for Minnesota and Minnesota too, but in the Congress and for the country. You know, one of the things we've made great progress on is lowering healthcare costs in America, and Angie Craig introduced a provision which is part of the Inflation Reduction Act, which says that people who are in the Medicare program on diabetes can be charged no more than $35 out of pocket for their insulin shots. And we're limiting to $2,000 a year what anybody in the Medicare program can have to be forced to pay for their prescription drugs. That's huge. And you know what? And we're saving billions of dollars at the same time. And so people are going to ask you, well, how can you be giving people this remarkable benefit, but you're saving money? Well, very, very simple. We reversed a nasty piece of Republican special interest legislation that was slipped in the middle of the night by Billy Towson, a Republican representative from Louisiana, who's chair of the Energy and Commerce Committee, which said the government cannot negotiate for lower prescription drug prices with Big Pharma, and after fighting against that for 10 years in this Congress, we got it done. We reversed it and you got to understand, you got to tell people, if they're jaded and cynical, which is what Cambridge Analytica and Steve Bannon and Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin are urging them to be pessimists and jaded and say, oh yeah, all the politicians suck. They want that because they know the only idealists are on our side, and they want to demoralize you and demobilize you. But when people tell you it doesn't make any difference who gets elected, tell them that the GOP today is campaigning to reverse the Inflation Reduction Act and to restore the ban on government negotiation with Medicare. If you want to keep lowering the prescription drug burden on Americans by $35 or $40 billion a year, we need Democrats in Congress. And I want to say, because I've been, Angie's been getting stuff done for us in the healthcare front. I've been working on democracy. Should I tell them the story about my getting mad at what they're calling Democrat? All right, I'm going to tell you guys one story, and I'm going to give you a message, and I'm going to bring on one of the greatest members of Congress that anybody could ever serve with. But so yeah, I've been having this problem, which is that my GOP colleagues in the Judiciary Committee and the Oversight Committee, they don't know how to correctly pronounce the name of our party in its adjectival form, right? So they'll say, well, that Democrat Congresswoman with her Democrat bill and her Democrat amendment, and for years I've gently been trying to explain to them, no, when it's an adjective you have to say the Democratic Congresswoman, the Democratic bill, the Democrat. It's not that big a deal, it's just one extra syllable, you can handle that. But still, for year after year they've been doing it. They keep doing it. And about a month ago, I exploded in the Judiciary Committee and said, you know what? You guys have a self-appointed political speech impediment, and it's contagious. It's spreading over to our side of the aisle, and now every time I open up my mouth to say the name of your party, it comes out the Banana Republican Party, the Banana Republican Party, and the Banana Republican Party. And then, I was very proud of myself, of course, and I went over and I told my wife what I'd done, and she said, that was an extremely immature response. And so I had to come up with something new, but luckily I was finishing reading this book by H.W. Brand about Franklin D. Roosevelt called Traitor to His Class, which I recommend very highly to you. But in it, I noticed something remarkable, which is that Roosevelt did not call our party the Democratic Party, much less the Democrat Party. You know what he called us? He called us the democracy. The democracy. So there's a speech, he says, well, the plutocrats and the economic royalists say you invest in the very wealthiest people in the country, and some of it will dribble down on everybody else. But the democracy says you invest in the great American middle class. We will all rise and prosper together. That's the doctrine of the democracy, said Roosevelt. That's the doctrine. And my friends, today we are the democracy. We are the party of democracy. We used to have two, we've got one. That party, which was Lincoln's party, which was a great party. I've got a bust of Abraham Lincoln sitting on my desk in the Rayburn House office building. It was an anti-slavery party. It was an anti-racist party as far as you could go back in the 19th century. It was anti-know-nothing. It was a pro-immigrant party. That party has been reduced to a cult of authoritarian personality under one charismatic or allegedly charismatic leader who dictates to everybody what to think and what to do. In 2020, they came back from their convention with no platform at all, no platform, which tells you what? Their platform is whatever Donald Trump tells them it is, and that platform is made of big lies and conspiracy theory, propaganda, and disinformation. So at this point, with all of our flaws and all of our many imperfections, and I know somebody's going to lecture me about how we don't know how to message, so I'm going to give you a message before I go. Even with all of it, we are the party of democracy in America. That's who we are. We are the party of democracy. So, the message I will humbly offer to you before I close with the words of the great Tom Paine and bring on the great Angie Craig. Here's my suggestion, okay? Tell the young people of Minnesota, tell your children, tell your grandchildren, tell your brothers and sisters, very simple. Everything you need to know about voting is everything you need to know about driving. If you want to go forward, you put it in D. You want to go backwards, you put it in R. How's that for How simple is that? All right, I'll leave you. I love Angie Craig so much. I would go anywhere for her in the country, but it's a special delight to be here in beautiful Minnesota too for Angie Craig. She is a fighter for you guys every day in Minnesota. She thinks about her constituents every single day. But anyway, I'm going to leave you the words of the great Tom Paine, he wrote this pamphlet in 1776 called The Crisis. Very difficult time. People were saying at the time of the Revolution, you can't beat the kings and the queens and the nobles and the lords. You can't beat the merger of church and state. You need an established religion. You can't beat the monarchs and the dictators. Because for most of history, people lived under tyrants like Vladimir Putin and kleptocrats like Donald Trump. For most of history, people have lived without democracy and freedom, and they were trying to create a new society on a new principle. So anyway, he wrote this pamphlet called The Crisis, and I'm going to update the language a little bit at instructions of Nancy Pelosi, who said Paine wouldn't mind because he was a feminist, and that he was. And but he said, these are the times that try men and women's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will shrink at this moment from the service of their cause in their country. But everyone that stands with us now will win the love and the favor and the affection of every man and every woman for all time. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered, but we have this saving consolation. The more difficult the struggle, the more glorious in the end will be our victory. Let's make that victory ours with Angie Craig in Minnesota. So cool in 22. Thank you so much.
Wow. Jamie Raskin. I know you only get to see you back in the district, but we honestly really like each other, at least on the D side most of the time. Thank you so much. I just want to say it's so great to be back here, especially here at Angry Inch. John and Snay, thank you. And, I know it doesn't surprise any of you that I had him pour me a beer, but this is the never-ending IPA, and I helped brew it on Brew Day here, just so we all know. Try out the never-ending, I helped brew it. Look, I am just baffled and so excited and so proud to have all of you out ready to knock doors for me this morning and ready to knock doors for great candidates throughout the 2nd District. I know I'm going to miss some people, but first I want to say hi to R.T. Ryback right here. Former mayor of Minneapolis, who's going to be knocking doors for this year today. We've got Representative Liz Wire standing right in front of me. Right in front of me, and she is doing the hard work, and I can't see anybody else, so do I have anybody else? Okay, all right, well, work your way to the front, and I'll introduce you. I learned a long time ago, if I'm in a room full of politicians, never forget to introduce them, otherwise you get yourself in trouble. Well, look, when Jamie Raskin talks about Thomas Paine and the history of the revolution and this nation, I would just remind every single one of you that this district was in Republican hands for 70 of 80 years before we won this seat in 2018. And the reason we won this seat is because so many of you who had not previously been involved in politics got up and said, this is not the country that we believe can exist. And you got off the sidelines and you got involved and you formed groups like Indivisible, people like Karen Gallagher up here at the front, who's still giving them hell every single day. And she has the only Angie Craig for Congress hat that has been produced in the history on her head today, except for my wife Cheryl, who took the second one because she did not want Karen to have the only one. So you and Cheryl, I think we have a limited run that we're going to be offering up here online in a few days. But all of you who got off the sidelines in 2018 and said, this is not who we are as a nation, this is not who we are as a country. And we like to do hard things in the 2nd District of Minnesota. As you can tell, I like to do hard things. And this election cycle in particular, it's hard. You know, history says the party in power loses seats in a midterm. And I say that history has never seen this radical of a Republican Party. We are the party that Jamie Raskin talked about, that's working to lower the cost of health care. Do you realize in only 2 years, in the last 2 years of session, 14 million more Americans have gained access to health care in our country. And when I think about where I've been focused in the last 2 years, allowing Medicare to negotiate its pricing, capping senior drug costs at $2,000 a year, $35 copay for insulin, and I'm not done yet fighting for those on private health insurance and for those who have no health insurance. We are not going to give up until we get that done. Extending the ACA tax credits, The bipartisan infrastructure bill, which Tyler Kistner says he would have voted against. So important for the city of Lakeville, for Dakota County. For the bipartisan gun safety bill, the first gun safety reform in decades, for the largest package to address climate change in our nation's history. And I will just say, I am willing to work with anyone. You all know that. President Trump signed 4 bills into law that were authored by me. I will work with anyone who has a good idea for the people of the 2nd District, but you sure know that I will stand up to anyone who has an idea that is going to hurt my constituents. People like Jody and Dave. Jody was paying thousands of dollars every single year for her insulin. People like the Krugers, who got caught up in the ACA's family glitch and they couldn't afford their health insurance. People like Katie Slifko. Katie's husband, Corey, served for decades on the South St. Paul Police Department, and they got caught up in a situation where she couldn't access his benefits after he died. This district, this seat, I want you to know one thing. It doesn't belong to me. It belongs to the people of the 2nd District. And so as you head out to the doors today, I want to leave you with this. This campaign, too, does not belong to me. It belongs to every single one of you. And when you're at the doors today, you're fighting for your values. You're fighting for your own children and your grandchildren, like my grandson Noah. We're fighting for the country that we believe in. And I'll tell you what I believe in as I am today. I believe that it shouldn't matter the color of your skin. It shouldn't matter who you worship. It shouldn't matter who you love in this great nation of ours. There is enough love for every single one of us. And if you believe too that that's who we can be as a country, I would remind you that this country has not walked a straight line. I don't say straight very often, especially in my campaign speeches. We've never just moved forward as a nation. We've always had tough challenges ahead. I would not want to be in this fight with anyone but every single one of you. So let's get to the doors today. Let's win a few more votes. Let's win the 2nd